Whoa. Mamma mia. Okay. So this is gonna be the bad end. It's pretty easy to get. Or maybe I just got all of the prompts for it. Ray's route was actually pretty hard to get. I had to follow, like, Ray's bad end route was pretty hard to get, so I had to follow quite a bit of guides. But this one isn't too hard. I don't know. I got it by accident. So you can always just go back to my previous video or look up a guide. But I think Taku's bad end's pretty easy to get. But yeah, if you're too lazy, here it is. Bada bing, bada boom. The game's not muted, it's just quiet for some reason now. I think I gotta go. Yeah, there we go. I think it officially starts here. This is like pretty... The beginning part here is like pretty much the same as the normal route, or the good route. And I think after this line, it officially becomes the bad route, but I can just play this part.
お前とは長い付き合いだ。
お前はおとなしい子供だった。静かにうつむいて俺の診察を受けていた。
そうまでして自分だけのものにしたかったのか。
どうしようもなかったんだ。そうか。
Okay, now the bad end starts here. Whoa, yeah. He stared at the floor and mumbled to himself.
やっぱり無理なんだ。
I just can't do it.
どれだけ長い時間を過ごそうとも。思いを伝えることは難しい。
No matter how much time we spend together, I just can't seem to express my feelings.
それなら、いっそのこと、力ずくででも自分のものにした方がいいのか。
In that case, maybe. It's better if I just take him by force. He mumbled to himself as if he'd forgotten I was right here.
おい。
Hello? Right when I tried to get a look at his face, he suddenly reached out and grabbed my left arm.
そうだ。そうしよう。誰かに取られるくらいなら。
Yeah, that's a good plan. If someone else is gonna take you anyway.
たく、話せ。
Taku, let go. He looked up, but though his eyes were pointed in my direction, I could tell he wasn't really seeing me. I was just window dressing.
誰かに取られるくらいなら。
If someone else is gonna take you anyway. Unable to shake him off, I swung my cast up and punched him in the face. His lip began to bleed. He licked it, then looked at me. But his eyes were darker and colder than I'd ever seen them. He grabbed my cast and kicked my legs out from under me. Unable to brace for impact, I hit the floor hard. My broken arm roared in pain. Right as I managed to lift my head, I felt a tiny prick of pain in my neck. Then I saw that he was holding an injection needle. His eyes were like ice.
何を。
What are you? Slowly but surely, my limbs grew numb and I started seeing double. Taku stared down at me in silence as I lay collapsed on the floor. His smoke had shifted to a very dark reddish purple, almost black. His emotionless eyes reflected in the cold, sterile light. That was the last thing I saw before I passed out. I was wondering why you suddenly wanted to speak to me. What's going on here? I'm going home. What? I said I'm going home. And yes, I'm taking Toa with me. What about the drug? Are you abandoning your work? I'll finish it in 3 days. And you expect me to believe that? Yes. 3 days. I promise. You can't possibly expect me to be that naive. If you want your finished product, then you'll have to be. What brings this on all of a sudden? I've made up my mind. Oh. About what? Oh my god. About what? If I hesitate for even a moment, I'll lose everything. So instead, I'm never going to let go, even once. I don't know what's going on with you, but it certainly seems you've overcome something. You've got a different look in your eyes. My eyes? Yes, you used to have the most despicably reproachful look in your eyes. But now they're as sharp as honed blades. They're not the eyes of a doctor. I can say that much. I've let go of my hypocritical desire to save as many lives as I can. I only need to focus on what I truly want. Nothing else matters. I see. Not a bad mindset to have. Well, as long as you finish my product, I don't care about anything else. Knock yourself out. But on the off chance you betray me, you're both dead. I know. You really have changed, haven't you? Yeah, easy yandere, baby. For the next 3 days, I was confined to the room. I was handcuffed and gagged, with guards standing both inside and outside. Specifically, the extra guards stationed inside were there to make sure I didn't try to commit suicide. They pointed their guns at me whenever I flayed around, so I tried to get them to kill me, but then they drugged me until I lost the will to resist. Then, on the night of the third day, I lay on the bed, my mind fuzzy, and watched as Taku entered the room. I hadn't seen him in 3 days, and yet he looked like he'd aged several years. He walked over to me and stared down at me with sunken eyes.
すべて終わった。帰ろう。
It's all over now. Let's go home. Had he finished the drug? That was the only coherent question on my otherwise fuzzy mind. After that, Tono's goons drove us back home to the clinic. When we finally arrived, it was well past 2 a.m. Taku led me through the front entrance to the waiting room. The building had closed down after we were kidnapped, and being inside felt like exploring old ruins. I sat on the edge of an empty bench and looked around the room. But I felt no great relief in being back. My only real opinion was that it felt too quiet.
どうは
Taku grabbed my left arm and led me down the hall. Absently, I followed along behind him. Our destination? The basement. We traveled down the narrow staircase to the little operating room. Taku headed for a door on the far side of the room. I hadn't noticed during my last visit, but apparently there was another room down here. He opened the door. Inside, it looked like a guest room about the same size as the operating room. There was a bed, a table, a fridge, a kitchenette, a TV, a bathtub, and a toilet. Wow. With some groceries, you'd have everything you need to live here. I had a bad feeling about this. Apparently, Taku had anticipated that I would freak out. He yanked hard on my arm. Before I could resist, he stabbed an injection needle into my vein. I could only watch helplessly as the clear fluid entered my bloodstream. Once the needle was emptied, he let go of my arm. Glaring, I staggered backwards away from him. My heart was starting to race and I was breathing more heavily. He stared back at me without emotion.
今日からここがお前の部屋だ。
Starting today, this is your new room.
ずっとここにいれば安全だ。もう二度と危険にさらされることはない。
As long as you're here, you'll be safe. You'll never be in danger again.
何言って。
What are you?
絶対に離さない。絶対に。
I'll never let go. Never. He had a deranged look in his eyes. Madness peeked out from behind his calm veneer. His smoke engulfed his body in what looked like dark red flames. Was I the one who drove him to do this? As the chemicals started to kick in, I took another step backwards, breathing hard. The backs of my knees brushed the edge of the bed, and I sat down. Try as I might to keep my guard up, I was distracted by my growing inability to breathe. I clutched at my chest and gulped down oxygen. When I looked up, I saw Taku smiling at me. His eyes were full of sorrow and love. After that, an indeterminate amount of time passed. After all, I had no way of measuring it. My entire world was reduced to a single room. This was the only place where I was permitted to exist. In the beginning, I was able to stay informed about the outside world through the TV and my phone, but at some point, I stopped trying. This was my world now. Taku brought me food and drinks twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. At all other times, the door was locked up tight. In the beginning, he would give me an injection once a week at dinner time. It put me in a dreamlike state and made me feel good. Then I quickly realized he was drugging me with something. If I really tried, I probably could have decked him, knocked the needle away, and run out of the room. But I didn't. Whenever I looked into his empty eyes, my strength drained away. His dark, round pupils sucked me in, and it made me jealous. I wished I could go to the other side of him. This desire negated any will to fight. Meanwhile, his injections increased to once every 5 days. This lasted about a month, then it graduated to once every 3 days. And now, when I heard Taku's footsteps approaching, I looked up from the bed. My body was nearly skeletal, to the point that you could see my ribs. Wearing clothes was a waste of time, so I didn't bother. Bodily fluid spilled from my lips and nose to the sheets. The sheets were stained dark brown from the times I would scratch my skin until it bled. My limbs were withered like dead leaves, yet they felt like a ton of bricks when I tried to lift them. But whenever Taku came by, then I'd get my injection and it'd all feel better. In contrast with my gaunt, hollow face, there was a strangely vibrant light in my eyes as I waited for the door to open. The footsteps slowly traveled down the stairs, then paused, and I heard the door unlock. And the door opened, and a dark figure walked in.
どう
Holding a silver tray, he called my name. I shivered. The only light was that of the TV. Faintly, I could see that Taku was just as gaunt as I was. His sunken eyes glinted darkly.
早く
Yeah, I don't think I like this hairdo. Like a dog, I crawled on all fours on the bed, wagging my invisible tail. He walked over and sat down. I offered him my arm, dotted with dark bruises in between the scars. A bony hand seized my arm while the other lifted the injection needle from the tray. With no hesitation, he plunged the tip into my skin and injected me with the colorless drug. I whimpered, entranced, as my eye glazed over. This is probably the drug Taku made. He pulled the needle out, and I sank into the filthy bed. Giggling, I rubbed my face against the sheets. Smiling, Taku watched me for a moment, then plucked a small capsule off the tray.
どう
But I barely responded. He put a hand to my chin and tilted my head up. Then, finally, my fuzzy vision focused on him. He bit the capsule between his teeth, then leaned in. I took the hint and met his lips drawn in like a magnet. As we kissed, we used his tongue to push the capsule into my mouth. It melted in the heat of our tongues, mixing with our saliva. We coated each other in the bitter substance. Then, after the bitterness faded, we pulled our tongues away.
何今の
What was that?
新しい薬だ 今までよりもっと飛べる。
A new drug. It'll get you even higher than the old stuff.
最高。
Awesome. We smiled, our noses touching, and kissed again. Then he wrapped his arms around me and pushed me down on the bed. With my body and mind both fried, I had lost all control. Sometimes I'd find myself leaking fluids all over. He's becoming a vegetable. Even now, I was drooling from the corner of my mouth. Maybe my brain was melting. When Taku started to run his tongue along my chest, my body felt like it had turned into a floating cloud. Do I have to start muting now? Cause that was... One more peep out, you young man, and we're muting. God. The drugs must have kicked in. Pleasure filled my skull as if my brain was a sex organ, and I writhed. The slightest touch of skin, the slightest brush of the sheets made me tremble. My cock was already hard and leaking pre-cum from the tip.
と。
Taku seemed to be in a similar state. He gazed at me feverishly as he reached out to my ass. His fingers arrived at my hole and one... I think I'm gonna stop here. I'll skim through it. I think I'm gonna stop here. No. I think I'm gonna stop here. Oh my... Oh good, I muted. Oh good. It's muted. Thank God. Yeah, they're all doing stuff. Yeah, they're just doing sex stuff. Oh, this CG's safe for work. Yeah, safe for work. Yeah, he's just crying because he's sad. Yeah. I wonder what those black clumps are. Probably high. Oh, that's why. Behind my eyelids, explosions of neon overtook my vision, swirling like the intricate motions of a kaleidoscope. Oh, maybe that's what these things are. Oh yeah, you saying fireworks popped into his vision, okay. Oh! It mixed into my bloodstream, raced through every inch of my body and transformed into pupae. Pupae? It's P-U-P-A-E, wriggling under my skin. Oh. When would the butterflies break free? It was a convulsive delusion. Oh, he's delusional. He's hallucinating. That's interesting. I guess it's a hallucinogenic. A drug. Yeah, I'm muting because, yeah, he moans very loudly. The pupae gathered at my extremities and began their metamorphosis, evolving into winged adults. The bugs. Red, blue, yellow, green, pink, purple, brown. A rainbow of bugs. All crawling under my skin. At my scream, Taku stopped. Then he starts giggling. Oh, silly Toa. And Taku's back is all covered in scars because Toa scratched the living hell out of it. Oh, and Toa's aware it's a hallucination and he's having fun. And Taku says, I've got bugs in me too. Whatever the hell that means. Oh, we were sharing the same delusion. A secret only the two of us could understand. We had exchanged this conversation a handful of times in the past, but it never got old. I clung to his body and he clung back in kind. Just like the bugs wriggling against each other just beneath my skin. Rubbed against my inner walls until I bled bugs. Oh! Whoa! As I clawed at his back, bugs spilled out from the scratches. Bugs swarmed our mouths as we kissed. Bugs, bugs, bugs. Even when I closed my eye, bugs filled my skull. Taku... Okay, I'm not... They're hot. What? His warm, wet tongue felt like a glistening, wriggling worm. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I could turn into a bug too. Taku, the bugs, they were all chewing holes in me. I hallucinated a spray of fresh blood. I don't think it's a hallucination. TBH. Oh my god. Every bug in my body flew off at once. My brain replayed the hallucination like a nightmare over and over. That happened after he came, by the way. Now that they were gone, my body was an empty shell. But I could no longer tell reality from delusion. Our saliva-slathered lips met, and our tongues wrinkled like pupae. I don't know if I said that right. Here's the text. When I opened my eye a crack, I saw swarms of ant-like insects trailing lines up and down my arms. It sent a shiver down my spine, but I found the sensation soothing and it made me laugh. Something had chewed a hole in one of my old scars, and now bugs streamed out of it. I was the matriarch, giving life to my children. More bugs would spill forth from fresh holes, and then Taku would impregnate me anew. The circle of life would spin on and on. But hey, as long as I was helping the bugs, I didn't mind. If you like blood, these are some pretty interesting CGs, but I don't think YouTube will allow me to show it. Artistically, they're quite interesting. I would say there's quite a fair amount of interesting CGs in Taku's route. Saying as someone that likes art with blood. Oops. Lying on my back on the sweaty sheets, I laughed to myself. Taku laughed too. As they departed the nest, the bugs grew wings and buzzed around the room. Lulled by the delicate drone, I slowly closed my eye. Oh, I guess that's it! Oh. Oh, then it's making bug sounds. Ew. I'll never let go again. We'll always be together until the day we die. Now it's playing Taku's ending. Shit! Yeah, that was fast. I suppose. That's actually really interesting. It kind of reminds me of... I don't know, artistically, I think bad ends are really interesting. Like, art-wise, they're really fascinating, but also the hidden messages or the meaning you could derive from it, or they're just really interesting to think about. I'm not one of those people that finds it erotic, which, if you do, who cares? It's fiction. That's why people make games like this. Yeah. Yeah, really interesting. They both become drug addicts. Yeah, in Ray's ending, it's kind of like... They don't become... I don't think they become drug addicts. Has it really been that long? But yeah, if you play this game yourself... I don't know, Taku's route felt very vanilla in comparison to Ray's. Like, before they do anything, it's all vanilla, but... Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing after the ending theme, so... I'm just gonna end it here! I'm gonna... try to start Madarame's route this week. Yep. I'll try, but I have to Google how to start it, because I think there's a very particular way you have to do it. I might have to backtrack, because I don't really have any saves that I can jump off and do Madarame's route. Oops! Because basically, for slow damage, the route order is basically you do Rei or Taku's route first. Those two, you have to... I'm not sure if you only have to do one of them, but you can do either or first, and then Madarame's route unlocks, and then I think his name's Fujieda, the lawyer. I believe his route unlocks the last. But yeah, Madarame's route is next. It's gonna be really, I'm gonna have to censor a lot. I do a lot of... Yeah. It's the more fucked up route, and I think like Fujieda's is like the longest, and you find out all the truths and secrets and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of want to go back and rewatch the nightmares from each route, because I believe each nightmare makes sense after you finish the route, but during the route you're like, what the fuck is this? Except for the last nightmare in Taku's route, that one made no lot of sense. You can pretty much guess it was about Taku. But yeah, pretty interesting game. I love this game. Even though I don't stream it as much as I should. It mostly has to do with things in my life. Don't wanna, chop it up. I got things happening in my life. Okay, that's it. Just gonna end it here. I kind of want to talk about Taku's route, though. I don't know, there's not much to say. I found it really interesting, but age gap wasn't for me, but for people that do enjoy it, power to. Yeah, Ray is more of my taste. I'm more interested in more gender ambiguous and younger folk. But some people really like those foxy grandpas, so hey-o, power to you. But yeah. Oh. I want to show off my paintings. Basically, if you play the game yourself, you can go back and see the naughty scenes, but it shows them as paintings. Isn't that cool? I'm not gonna click them because they show... No, let's see. Yeah, I can't click them. that. I can't click that. Oh. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's pretty. Even the previews are pretty saucy. So yeah, I'm not gonna show that. But yeah, ciao for now. Ah. Oh, bye.